Hello and welcome everyone to the Friday, January 17th edition of the Contributor Comms team meeting. As usual, a reminder that we operate under a code of conduct, which essentially says to be respectful of your fellow speakers and attendees and generally be excellent to each other. We'd like to offer an opportunity here at the beginning of the call for anyone on the call to introduce themselves, totally optional. I will kick things off. I'm Caslin Fields. I'm one of the co-leads of this sub-project, which is a sub-project of the Special Interest Group for Contributor Experience in Open Source Kubernetes, and this is the comms sub-project. Our charter, our mission is about making sure that folks within the contributor community know what's going on within the contributor community and that folks external to the contributor community know about the awesome work that contributors are doing. Would anyone else like to, oh, and my pronouns are she, her. Haha, got it today. Would anyone else like to introduce themselves? Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Mario. I am doing technical stuff for comms, and I'm also a co-lead of SIG ContribEx. And my pronouns are he, him, and I work for Kubernetes.
Welcome. Always good to have you. Anyone else?
Hello everyone, this is Nishita. I'm a new contributor here.
Welcome back. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to introduce themselves? It's totally optional.
Hi everyone, this is Dhaval. I'm also lurking over here just to figuring it out how to contribute.
Welcome. A lot of folks doing that here at the beginning of the year, I think. We've been talking about New Year's resolutions the last couple of times. I think we're past the typical stop point, or maybe today is the
I think
typical
it's
stop
today.
point.
I think Chris mentioned last time it's today.
So make sure you attend next week as well, so that you have gone beyond the typical point where people stop their New Year's resolutions. We've lost a few today, so we'll see. Maybe they'll come back after the stop point. Anyone else like to introduce themselves? All right, then. Welcome, everyone. This is a very casual call, so feel free to interrupt at any time with questions verbally, or if you want to introduce yourself later, or if you want to ask a question in the chat, feel free to ask, chatter. This is all about communication. That's what we do here. And, one more housekeeping item before we move into our agenda. Would anyone like to volunteer to be our note taker today? The role of the note taker is to follow along with the discussion and take notes on it as best you can, so that if folks want to check out what we talked about later, they can just read the notes, or they can look at the YouTube video if they want, but we have the notes as an option for folks. So would anyone like to
I'm
be
here.
our note taker? Nishita?
Yeah.
You up for being note taker
Yeah.
today?
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you. Twice in a row. I think that counts as a New Year's resolution as well. Love to see it. Thank you for volunteering. All right, so we'll go over our messages of the week, new items, and updates and big wins, and take notes on all of those, and then we'll hop into the board. Sometimes there's a note or two there, but usually we just kind of go over it and let the board be its own notes. We'll see. All right, let's do messages of the week first then. So this item on our agenda is for figuring out amongst ourselves what all is going on in the contributor community that we need to tell people about right now. We had a few from previous weeks that are still relevant, and so I moved those up. And maybe we'll have some time at the end of the call here today where I can create a couple of these social media messages because I definitely didn't work on any of them in past weeks. There were a couple of them that we missed, and scholarships are due Sunday, which is coming up very fast. So I want to make sure that we get some notifications out about that on our social media channels, which I don't think we've done. We also had a note last time, I think, about CNCF certification prices are going up on February 4th. So I think it'd be nice to let the community know that that's a thing that's happening. And then new contributor orientation on Tuesday, 21st of January. Mario and I will lead those as we have the last all of them. And, I will be out for the one in February. Our pit volunteered to help with that last time, so we need to connect with him on Slack to let him know what he needs to do. I also haven't reached out to the other SIG chairs yet to ask them if they have any new stuff to put on the open requests list. I wouldn't expect them to actually respond to that this early in the year anyway. They rarely do, even when it's not this early in the year. So, so we do need to get some comms out about that, though, to let folks know that that is a thing that's happening next week on Tuesday. So scholarships, social media, certification, social media, new contributor orientation. All of those are good things for social media and possibly for last week in Kubernetes development as well, which is a newsletter. Anyone have anything else that's going on? Do you have some things going on, Mario?
No.
He cringes.
The reports are due. The yearly SIG reports are need to be filled.
Yeah.
I had it open a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, so Kubernetes attempts to do this thing where the different special interest groups file some reports about what their previous year was like. And in past years, it has happened that folks have correlated all of that stuff together and turned it into a big report that the CNCF published. And that's really important because it's useful for folks who do contribution as part of their jobs, for them to have something to point to be like, hey, contributing to Kubernetes last year made a difference. Here's a doc that shows you all of the awesome things that the project did last year and that kind of thing. In reality, compiling those kinds of reports takes a lot of time and is very difficult. So the last few years, it's been kind of a best effort. They have improved, well, they've changed the process so that each SIG only needs to answer like 2 questions about what they did in the last year. But then it doesn't really get compiled and put anywhere. But they
Are
hope
we
to do
sure
that.
that it's only 2 questions? Because when I look at it, it's 5.
They keep telling me it's only 2, but I don't believe
So it is, what work did the SIG do this year? And that should be highlighted. Are there any areas, this first question, are there any areas or sub-projects that your group need help with? Oh, that's nice that we can refactor, we can reuse this then for the call to action. Did you have a community-wide updates in 2024, for example, KubeCon talks, and kept work in 2024? So it's 4 questions, I guess.
they lie.
They lie.
It's not too bad, though.
And operational tasks that we need to double check.
They're also very broad questions. Like, is an essay question only one question? I don't know. One other thing on this, though, I think these are due by SIGs like the middle of February.
14th of February. They are asked to be submitted by the 14th of February, so that we have it on the 28th, targeting 28th for reviews and approval. So filled out by the 14th of February, and then finished and merged by the 28th of February.
Yeah, so it'd be really good to get some comms out on that for sure.
Yeah, and
Maybe.
it's important that we also state Reminder, reports don't have to be submitted by SIG or working group chairs. Feel free to nominate candidates among your contributors. This is a great way to grow your new leads.
That is what they say. I found it a little funny. Probably shouldn't say this on the recording, but hello, YouTube. um, we talked about this in another meeting earlier this week, and he mentioned that in the SIG chairs meeting, and I was like, "You're saying that to a bunch of SIG chairs who are already overwhelmed with work, and then it's like, have new people do it so that you're training them at the same time." It's like that just makes the task even bigger, and half the SIGs don't even do this to begin with. But he's not wrong. It is a good way to help new folks come on board and understand what the SIG's been doing.
Yeah.
So hopefully people will do it, even if it is a little bit of extra work to do it that way. Cool. Any other things going on in the contributor community that we need to send out messages about? Any maintainer summit stuff or other stuff you're involved with, Mario?
There's no,
Unfortunately.
not maintainer summit, but on the SIG infra meeting, yeah, but I haven't received the comms yet. So the deprecation of GCR.io will hit us in March.
We're still
when
on
it's
that?
got we still have I think we still have a couple of things that publish to GCR.io. However, that I think most of the stuff is migrated. I know of one thing that is not migrated, but that's on my to-do list. It's API Snoop. However, their SIG Infra is preparing comms, but I have pinged SIG Infra that they basically should ping us or me so that we can send comms out. So this will come, but I don't have it yet. I will ping Mohammed to get it if it's interesting for next week LWKD. But I guess
sounds like something good to mention. Though you might want to be careful to explain how it's different from all of the other fire drills in this general area we've had over the last couple of years.
I know. That's basically why I would wait for Mohammed to write the initial comms so that we can reuse it.
What should the note on this be in our note stack?
Ignore it, and as soon as I have it, I will bring it up next week. Or so if it hits the beginning of next week, I will add it to the LWKD myself. If not, then I will add it in the meeting.
So for our notes, I think note that GCR.io thing is coming.
Yeah.
Mario will tell us more soon. I think that's good enough.
The January patch release was delayed to the 15th, but I guess that's done.
Yeah, we are on the 17th now, so I would assume that is a thing.
Yeah, it was published. 1.30.9 is live since 15th. So.
Oh man, release comms. There's so much more that I want to do with that. I haven't done it. Okay, so that is passed. Anything else? One thing that I didn't bring up from the past couple of weeks is the KubeCon CFPs that are open. We might want to post more about that. Japan, China, and India are all open right now. Japan and China close on February 2nd, and India closes on March 23rd, I want to say. Yeah. So that's another good thing to note. I hope that we have some time at the end of this for a working session where I can show all of you new folks how we do social media, and you all could contribute right away. We could get you set up. All right. I think that's probably good for messages of the week, unless you can think of any other KubeCon things that need communicating.
Maybe registration reminder. that people register for a maintainer summit.
Oh, we could also mention the schedule, because the schedule for EU is out now.
For maintainer summit? No.
No, not for Maintainer Summit, for KubeCon EU and Maintainer Track.
Yeah, maintainer track schedule. Oh, we should also plan, but that's new items. Never mind.
You could go ahead. I think we're about ready to move on to new items. What is it? I love it when it's natural like that.
Comms plan for EU, KubeCon EU. Setting up comms plan for KubeCon EU.
Why would you mention that? No, that's very valid. That is something that needs to get done, and it's good to mention it early.
Yeah, exactly. As we said, we will do it better this time and not on Sunday.
Hey,
because
that happens about half the time. I feel like that's over half the time. Is that what we do it? That's not a good thing.
In India was way worse. India was like, we publish it on the day. I finished it when
something got published.
Yeah. We had some coverage of it for India.
I'm impressed. An update. We're just gonna go all over this right now, but an update is that I haven't seen any updates from the Blue Sky request. I forgot to ping them about it last week, so I really need to do that this week. I'm gonna put that on my to-do list before I forget it again.
Yeah, this would be great.
Request hasn't moved. Hasn't moved. There we go. There are the words. KubeCon EU comms plan. No, that's a really good reminder. Thank you for bringing that up. To review that with folks who might not be familiar, we have a spreadsheet where we basically lay out, like, here are all the things that are happening at KubeCon that we want to post social media about. Here's when we want that social media to go out. So we'll have a whole schedule for social media that goes out during the event. And it's open to anyone to contribute to. We say, here's the thing on the schedule that we need a message about. And you can look at past art. You can, I don't know, use AI, I guess, to write up a draft of a message. And you just leave it in the spreadsheet. And hopefully we have folks who are familiar with our social media processes actually put that in our tools. But we need a lot of help to actually get those schedules made, because it's like 50 social media posts on different channels and things that we have to get written. So we need a lot of help with that. If folks are interested in helping with the KubeCon comms plan, message me and then keep messaging me until I remember to do it. Blue Sky reminder is there. Cool. Any other new items? Has anyone seen any requests for comms that would involve our group? There's been a conversation going on with leads and chairs about some issues with calendar invites, but that's a SIG ContribEx thing over a comms thing, even though it's kind of comms. But I don't think that's really a new item. That's the only thing on my mind, though. So that's probably it. Any other updates and big wins on work that's going on with this group? I did see a couple updates from Federico. His are about things that are also in the board, but I'll go ahead and mention them here in updates and big wins. There's a PR open for the SIG etcd Spotlight. So that's exciting. Marked work in progress because Frederico wants to add some additional links to it. But there is a PR open, so that's available for review. If you're interested in reviewing blogs, we'd love to have your help. Reply to the message in SIG ContribEx comms on Slack, where Frederico mentioned it, if you want to help out with that. He is both our blogging lead and the author, so he'd love to have your help with reviewing it. SIG Architecture Enhancements blog has the date updated, and hopefully they'll get that published in the coming week. That one has been bumped down the road a couple of times. several times. And then Sundipun has a new draft of the SIG Apps Spotlight, and it's looking good. So they're working through that process. Those are some nice updates on blogs. Those are all from the Slack, so we could just copy them in from there. Cool. So that's all I've got for new items, updates, and big wins and messages of the week. Any other discussion items before we move into our board?
The only discussion item where I'm not sure is if we should revisit the AI policies policy thing or not.
Brought that up knowing knowing this. Yeah. I do think some good points were raised in the SIG ContribEx meeting this week. I think that was the SIG
People are
ContribEx
using
meeting.
it
right?
anyway. Yeah, it was the
Yeah, that
ContribEx.
people. I liked the phrasing that was used. It was like, I don't know if you're going to be able to avoid having AI in your writing going forward.
Yeah.
Thought that was an interesting perspective. As more and more tools integrate AI, it might actually be hard to avoid it. Like,
Yeah, since yesterday, our Google Meet is basically Gemini infused.
to do that thing. There was one day where mine popped up. I work at Google, so but there was one day where it popped up and I went into one of my one-on-ones. It was like, wait a minute. Actually, it wasn't a one-on-one. It was a larger team meeting. But we were like, wait a minute. The Gemini is like taking notes right now in a new way than it has in the past. Which was really funny because it was like a casual hangout session for some of my teammates, and one of my teammates was just talking to his dog. So most of the notes were like, Juniper is a good girl. Juniper wants the ball. She wants to go outside and play with the ball.
Oh no. That's
And then we
hilarious.
turned the notes off.
I see.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen with AI policies with open source. For context, for anyone who's new here or who just hasn't been paying attention to that, which I respect, is we haven't had the problem since LLMs became a thing over the last year or two. Before that, humans wrote things. And so now with LLMs being more common for drafting things and writing things, we want to make sure that we don't have content on our blog and stuff that is just AI generated and not fact checked by a person and like made sure that it actually aligns with the things that the humans in the community care about. So we have our review processes, which we might want to focus on at this point for how we handle AI content. At one point, we were wondering, like, do we use one of those AI checkers to see if something was written by AI? But those have a lot of problems. And so we were developing a policy around using that, but I don't know. I think we're kind of moving away from that now. So as a community, we're still trying to decide what our policies are on how content is created using AI for our community. So ongoing discussion for context.
We will also have another new discussion, which is great because in Europe, the Security Act has come into play, and there's a paragraph in it that basically requires maintainers or contributors of open source software to hand in security reports to the European Union. Yeah, it's utterly
ridiculous.
Yeah.
More work for SIG Security. Luckily, our SIG Security group is active and they do a lot of audits and reports and things. So I could see them actually taking that up as they are right now. But the thing with open source is that we're basically all volunteers here in one way or another. So a lot of the work depends on
That's why
that.
it's even more. That's why it's even more ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because basically
There's
they
so many
want
projects that can't do that.
I know.
Do they want
It's
like a
stupid law.
professional level security report? Because if groups do it, a lot of groups, I think all they could do would be like one maintainer, the one person who actually knows what's going on, or their protege is like, there's probably some security stuff in here. We review code.
The funny thing is, it would basically also only affect Europeans, which makes it even more stupid. Yeah.
Like your European maintained projects?
No. European maintainers have the responsibility to do it. It's a weird wording, basically, and I need to dig into this deeper. But when this policy was drafted, no one thought this through, because it was drafted by people who don't understand open source.
Yeah.
Well, the solution that we figured out now is releases are now only done by not European Union people.
There you go.
Problem solved.
Problem solved. We could probably share whatever comes out of SIG security for that.
Yeah.
Since we're a big enough project that we have people who work on these things, but
yeah, I need to reread this document again.
All right. These are interesting points. I don't know that they particularly need to go in our notes, so.
No.
Yeah. Cool. Good to know, though. I think I'll put a note in anyway, because it is good to know. There's a new European Union
Security Act.
Some interesting requirements around maintainers of open source projects filing security reports. Does that go in the updates and big wins column? Good enough. All right. I think I will go ahead and open up the board. We are 35 minutes in. We've got 25 minutes left. If I can run through this really quickly, then maybe I can do a tour of our social media tools. All right. Looking at the ready for review column in our board, let me put this link in the chat so that if anyone wants to follow along, you are welcome to. If you're not an org member of the Kubernetes org in GitHub, you won't be able to interact with this, but you can still check it out and see what work we have available. If you want to pick up some work from the to-do column, just let us know and we'll get you sorted out with that. You should let us know anyway so that we can help you out. But in the ready for review column, I'm going to start with these purple ones. Add a SIG architecture enhancement spotlight article. That's an issue. Let's look at the PR. So Frederico had mentioned this. I thought he said the date was next week. Did he put that? That was today. Oh, and we have another update, by the way, in Slack. Arpit is working on SIG Docs Spotlight, and he just created a new question doc that he's planning to share with those chairs today. So that's moving along. Let's see here. Hold cancel. The PR was approved an hour ago. January 21st. Okay, so I think it's merged, but I don't think it'll go out until the 21st because that's the date on it. I don't exactly know how those tools work. So I think I will leave this in our board until next week because it should be actually published next
Yeah.
week. Cool. The top item on Ready for Review is Policy Working Group Spotlight. This is a Rougeval. There was a PR opened in September. We talked about this last time. There was a lot going on at the end of last year for the whole last several months of the year. Looks like there was a little bit of movement. There were some comments. Rougeval updated it in October. Then it was KubeCon. The changes were approved. Chris asked for an update on the publish date last week. SF Tim Bannister put a hold on it to ask if we wanted mirroring. Chris confirmed that we wanted mirroring, and that's where it's at right now. So this is a blog, the Working Group Policy Spotlight blog. So it was, is going to go on both Kates.dev and Kubernetes.io. That's what mirroring means. Cool. So it looks like that's in pretty good shape. I'm going to ask in there, do we need to do anything for the mirroring? A Rougeval. You need to get a new publish date. Just toss a comment on there to get it moving again. That's why we have these weekly meetings. Excellent. So the next one on Ready for Review is establishing a process to prevent duplication in LWKD articles. Mario, you had been working on that. Were you still going to do, I guess it's in review, so you did something on that and we're waiting for review on it?
I think there was another.
Oh, it got automatically moved to Ready for Review because it was so old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, I think, what do you want to do with it? Do we want to move it to won't fix?
I think there's not
Back to do?
we haven't even get a consensus out of it how we want to do it. So I would say I would move it to blocked and waiting.
Sounds good. A column that we never review. Maybe we should actually review that today too. Another one on this is the SIG UI Spotlight. Mario opened this. A Rougeval claimed it.
And I think it's rotten. Yeah, it's rotten.
And then it's rotten.
Yeah.
So SIG UI Spotlight goes back to
Back
to-do.
to to-do. Yeah.
As an open one. So if anyone wants to do a spotlight on SIG UI, which we determined is a real SIG.
And I mean, maybe we can. I know can we remove assignees? I'm not sure.
I think so. That's a good point. Let me do that. Oh, that just goes to his page. Nice profile picture.
No, I think we can only do it with
Prowl.
prowl.
Do you know what the command is?
No, but we can at least
/
do
unassign?
yeah.
Try it.
Try it and also go with remove life cycle rotten because otherwise it will be closed. Or is it already
You do not
closed?
have permissions to reopen this issue.
Ha! It's already closed. That's the problem.
It is closed, but also
I mean, you can
I
probably
can't
you can
reopen?
reopen. You should be able to reopen with yeah, but only with prowl.
It's in contributor site. Maybe. Let's see. Unassign Slash reopen?
Slash reopen, but minus minus open. I don't know.
Is it?
Just add there. Reopen issue with reopen. You can reopen this issue with reopen
Yeah,
and
just
mark this
reopen.
issue
Yep, there you
fresh
go.
with and also say remove lifecycle rotten,
Lifecycle
because
rotten.
otherwise I think it will automatically go again into lifecycle rotten.
Wow, such magical tools we have as a community in GitHub. Let's see if it actually does the thing. Oh, yep, it did it. Wow.
There it is.
Is it going to actually unassign that person though, or does unassign only work for me?
No, it's still assigned. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
Pro can. Maybe, yeah, probably we need to issue triage it, but let's keep it now for this way. That's fine.
It's in to do. If anybody wants that one, it's
and
open.
Ajamal also posted. I actually contacted the leads, but got no response.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that SIG is active. Whatever. We'll deal with this the next time someone wants to try it. SIG Kate's Infra, also one that was auto closed.
I know both of the. I know two of the chairs. For the
Akansha had taken this one up and created a questions doc. And then you were saying, hold on that.
Oh, SIG Infra said basically, yeah, no, we don't have time for this now.
Yeah. So what do we want to do with this one? This is...
I would keep it in... I would move it to blocked.
I mean, it's January of 2025. Do we want to move it to block, or do we want to move it to do as a thing that someone could pick up again? I don't know if Akansha would want to continue with it if they were open to it.
The main problem that we have is that the leads said they don't have the capacity to do it.
Yeah. And the leads have not changed.
They have. There's a new lead. There's a new tech lead.
Oh, well. Could be a different circumstance now then. Should we check back in with them?
Yeah, probably. Marco is the new tech. Marco is one of the new tech leads now. Marco Mondrucci.
Shall I reopen and ask Akansha to check back in with them?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're still interested in working on this, could you... All right. Reopening that one. Fun with Proud today is the theme. And so that's... I'm gonna leave it and ready for review because we actually look at that column. Let's look at the blocked and waiting column.
I mean, we can move it to do, right?
Well, if Akansha wants to keep it, then it's in progress, I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll put it at the top of in progress. Because she had already created a question stock, which we could probably reuse.
Yeah.
Lovely. So in blocked and waiting, we also have a spotlight, which is SIG security. June of 2024, questions were sent. SIG security is often busy, so I assume that just got dropped. It was Sriram who was trying to help do that. So I think this one probably moved back to do. Let this one be open afresh. 17th of January 2025. Moving this back to open. All right. Help wanted posts. Sundapen was so good about helping us try to remember that that was a thing that we wanted to do, and then we never did it. So the context on that is, ideally, we would like to make posts on social media about the help that SIGs want on a regular basis, but it's really hard to get SIGs to put what they need help with in a consumable place on a regular basis. So it's really hard to get those items so that we can share them more broadly. And even when they do, it takes a lot of work to like put it all together, because the last few opportunities we've had to do this have been the SIG callouts at contributor summits. We have the special interest groups get on stage and talk about the areas that they need help. And so then we'd have to take that video and turn whatever they said into something that we can post on social media, but they say it at the contributor summit. And so their audience is other contributors. So they're often looking for folks who are already experienced with the project. So we have to be careful about how we word that in social media. And then with all of these considerations, it just never gets done. So I don't know what to do with that item. Maybe just leave it in blocked and waiting forever.
The problem is also, and this is now reminds me, is what do we do with Maintainer Summit now? On Maintainer Summit.
Which, I mean, we didn't do anything with it before. But people did really like that item. So you could try to incorporate something with that into Maintainer Summit. I don't know. It was always we just started doing it the last 3 times. So, it's very new. That's a year and a half.
Yeah, it was in Chicago the first time, right?
Yeah, so that's not actually that new at this point, but it still feels new. It still feels very best effort. So something for you to think about. And whoever comes after you to think about, probably. Another thing in blocked and waiting, moving along, add LinkedIn to Kates.io and Kates.dev. This got stuck. Everybody agreed on August that this was an issue. I don't know exactly what got it stuck.
I don't know.
Which version of Font Awesome was being used? I think that's where it got stuck. Life cycle frozen. I'm going to remove that. Move life cycle frozen. All right. I removed the life cycle frozen, hopefully. Yes. And asked a question. Hopefully that'll maybe move. I'll move it back to in progress to check back in on. AI rules, not going to touch that. Establishing a process to prevent duplication in LWKD articles. We just moved that there. Lovely. So we went through ready for review and blocked and waiting. There's a lot of things in the in progress column. A suspicious number. A lot of these are SIG spotlights. I don't think we have many of the folks on for those today. So I'm going to go over the to-do column instead. So for any new folks on the call who are looking for work to do, we have an evergreen project called SIG Spotlight blogs. So Frederico is our blogging lead. So if you have any questions, you can always ask him. We have various blogging resources, materials, guides in our repo. I can send you all that link here in a minute. But the idea of the SIG Spotlight blog is that you interview the co-leads, chairs, leadership of a special interest group within open source Kubernetes to learn about what their special interest group does. And then you write a blog about it. It's fine if you don't know anything about special interest groups or that specific special interest groups area, because the idea is for you to learn about it and write the blog so that other folks who don't know anything about it can also learn about it. So it's a great way to get started. What you have to do basically is identify which SIG you're going to interview, which we have several here in the to-do column that are available if you want them. Just let us know that you want to take it on. Then you write up a list of questions. We have example lists of questions that you can work off of. And then you send those questions to the leads of that special interest group. We recommend doing it through a Google Doc or some other form of basically Google Doc. Google Doc is great. So that they can asynchronously fill them in and you have all the text written out. If you do a verbal interview like over Zoom or something, then you have to create a transcript of that interview and then turn that transcript into text that you can turn into a blog. And we have found that that process tends to get things stuck because it takes too long. So we recommend doing it with a doc unless you feel very strongly about doing a Zoom interview. And then you draft up a blog. Frederico and hopefully some of his blogging shadows review it. Then you open a PR, which they can help you with. And that gets reviewed again by the SIG Docs blogging folks. And then hopefully it gets published on Kubernetes.io and or Kades.dev. Usually both of those for these. So if you're interested in picking up a SIG Spotlight blog, just let us know which one you want or that you want to do one and need some help picking one, and we'll help you out. And that's what I've got for today. Go ahead.
I want to work on any Spotlight blog. Like, please suggest one.
That is a common request. Which of these might be good? Let's take a look through them. SIG apps. So this is one that no one has attempted. It sounds pretty interesting to me, so I would put that pretty high on the list. SIG auth, same situation. I'm checking these to see if we've done any previous work on these. Nope. Just the SIG UI and SIG security ones have past work. So if there's any of these in areas that you are particularly interested in from a technical standpoint, definitely just go with those. But if I'm going to suggest one, which one do you think is the most interesting, Mario, of these SIG areas? Apps, auth, auto-scaling, cluster lifecycle, scalability. Cluster lifecycle is the coolest, you think?
Yeah.
It is one that I see the name and I'm like, wait, do I know what that means?
Exactly.
So it would be pretty cool from that perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the reason why I would go for this one, because this is interesting for, I think, a lot of folks.
Sounds good to me. What do you think about SIG cluster lifecycle, Nishita?
Yeah, I'll go with that. I'll message Federico then.
Perfect. I will put your name on it. Do you have a GitHub handle?
Yeah.
Could you put it in the chat and I will mention it here? I think without org membership, I can't actually assign it to you, but I like to tag people in it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, Rujval is actually on. Hello, Rujval. I totally missed that earlier.
Hi, guys.
Excellent. Did you want to give any other updates on the spotlights that you're working on?
I'm not working on any spotlight right now.
Oh, I thought you had one. Oh, no. That was Sundapun. Lovely. Thank you for all of your work on spotlights in the past.
I can take a new one if there is any.
If you want to. Not trying to force work on you. We just moved the SIG UI one, as you saw. Or was that SIG security that you were working on? SIG UI, right? But if you want to try and take on a different one, you are welcome to.
Maybe I can take something else, like something different from Spotlight.
We currently only have Spotlight blocks planned, as far as I know.
I mean, if you have an idea for something.
I don't have any idea for now, but okay. For now, I can take a Spotlight.
Is there anything else that we need blogs about that we could do? Spotlights are the easiest.
Yeah, the only thing
Anything-
would be maintainer summit, but I think this topic is has so limited information that it makes more sense that I eventually find some time and write it myself.
Yeah.
The problem for this is that I don't even have yet all of the information.
Yeah. So the ones that are available are here in the to-do column. Do you want us to pick one for you like we did for Nishita?
I can try this new contributor story blog series.
Oh, yeah. That's a thing that's in there. Sure. If you want to try and get that going.
Yeah, okay, I will try this one.
Cool. Let's take a look at that. So I updated SIG cluster lifecycle. I'm moving that to in progress. Let me take a look at what that new contributor story blog series is. We have no information. Lovely. I think the idea here was to talk with folks who recently started contributing. And we at one point had Bart Farrell, if you all have run into him in the community. He makes a lot of really nice video content. He was part of our group at one point, and he did something like this, but with videos, where he would like have a call with a relatively new contributor to talk with them about their story and how they got started contributing and how it's been going. And he would post those videos. But I think this idea was similar to that, but in blog form. I actually had someone reach out to me the other day who had a experience that would fit into this, so I could connect you with them.
So I have to interview some new contributor.
Yeah, hopefully folks who are being successful at being new contributors. Because it can be really hard to get started. So a lot of folks will like attempt and then fall off a few times. That happens with most folks. Any active contributor that you talk to probably has a story like that. I tried with SIG testing first, fell off of that, and then came back to this group, and I've been here ever since. So hopefully someone who's...
I think that we can contact other leads and they will refer us to some new contributor.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
could be a good way to try.
We can try with SIG.
Cool. Let's talk about it more in Slack. Mention in Slack that you're interested in working on this so that Federico will have a notification that he knows that this is a thing that's happening.
Yeah, fine.
Thank you for being willing to explore this. Gotta put the date first. And we are a minute past time now. So any beyond last minute items before we say goodbye to our friends on YouTube? All right, then. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording. Bye, YouTube.